LETA presents Let's Unlock Lockdown Tales, Weaving a Story Together. This chapter has been written by Sanvee, Ira, Archis, Anvee, Sameeksha, Madhura and Ankita. Presented by Rashmi Abhisheki. Chapter 1 and 2 have already been published on this channel. Do listen to them before you listen to Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The New Normal. When the children stepped down the next morning, they sensed something unusual. Mother was in the kitchen while father sat weeping at the dining table. The children were really worried. They had never ever seen their father weep, although both their parents had always told them that just as girls, it was absolutely okay for boys to cry. Ria ran to her father and patted his back. "What is the matter?" asked a frightened Raj in a soft voice. "What is the matter with what?" Father shot back, trying to look through his tears. Now this question made Raj feel quite uncomfortable, and before he could enunciate his worry, Ria blurted out, "Why are you crying, Baba?" At this question, the sobbing Baba burst into peals of laughter. "It's the onions, bachas," he chuckled. "Did I scare you, Raj?" he asked his son as he continued to chop the onions which lay before him on the dining table. Raj suddenly remembered that he had learned in his science class that ammonia in the onions causes eyes to water. Well, now that he had experienced it, he was more likely to remember it. The children giggled. "We had never seen you chopping onions before this," explained Raj. "Be prepared to see novelties, children," said Ma, emerging from the kitchen to take away the onions. She rushed to the kitchen to add the onions to the oil with the crackling mustard, and soon the aroma of kanda poha beckoned the children to lay the table. Baba was now struggling to chop the coriander which Ma had promptly set before him. "Will you add it to the pohe while I fetch tea for us and milk for the children, Jay?" she asked father rhetorically, rushing inside to fetch the skillet of piping hot kande pohe. As they chomped on their tasty breakfast, sipping the milk and the tea from time to time, Ma said, "At what time does your meeting start, Jay?" "It is scheduled at 10 a.m. How about yours?" "Oh, I haven't received a message as yet. But if you can spare some time before your meeting, let us have a family meeting just after breakfast," she suggested. "Why not?" agreed Baba. "Kiddos, don't rush to your room when you have had your breakfast. We need to sit together and talk," he said to the children. So when the family had finished their breakfast, they headed to the living room for the family meeting. A family meeting was customary in their home. When the family had to iron out some wrinkles, they would all sit together, listen to each other, and sort things out through reasoning and discussion. During a family meeting, they were all on an equal footing, and each one could voice an opinion irrespective of age. It seemed as if Ma was thoroughly prepared for the meeting. She had a paper for each one of them. Ma told Ria to hand over a paper and a pencil to each of them. "Well, this virus and the consequential lockdown is going to change many things in our life, she started. The many things that we always took for granted will seem to be luxuries. Just as we might find ourselves inconvenienced, we need to think of this situation as an opportunity to learn self-reliance. Ever since Ria started school and I started working again, we have, as a family, been dependent on our helpers. Our maids, the gardener, and so many other people like the milkman, the newspaper vendor, the garbage collector, and the recyclable waste collector help us run our home. From today, most of these services will not be available to us. And to cut a long story short, said father, observing the bewildered look on the children's faces, we will all be doing all the chores that Shanta Maushi and Mangaltai have been doing for all these years. Will we be paid? Blurted out Raj and Ria together as if they had read each other's thoughts. Ma and Baba looked amused. Not really, started Baba. But you may be rewarded, and all our helpers will be paid, although they will not be doing their job, he added. But why? Asked Raj with a frown on his face. Remember, they are not on a voluntary holiday. They have worked for us for all these years, and we need to respect the fact that they have needs too, explained Baba. Baba, will you and Ma get your salary? Asked Raj. It's too early to say. We might receive partial payment, Baba said. Baba, are we gonna get poor? Asked Ria. Well, said Baba, pondering for a moment. We may not have all the money we used to have, dear, but we would be in a far better financial condition than our helpers. The daily wagers are the ones who will be hit the hardest, Ma sighed. Can't we help them, Ma? Asked Raj. His mind had been sensitized after what Baba had explained to them. We will do our bit, son. Baba and I are planning to make a donation to the PM Cares Fund. But at present, we need to decide how we are going to divide the household chores amongst ourselves. At this sentence, the room plunged into silence. Doing all the jobs of Shanta Aji, Mangal Maushi and Deepak Kaka the gardener seemed a Herculean task. Somehow, in these trying times, these commonplace helpers seemed to be nothing less than superheroes. Finally, Baba broke the silence. Let us first make a list of all the chores and the frequency at which they need to be done. So together, the family took the first step of extending their acquaintance with their home to a deeper relationship. Finally, it was decided that all the jobs would be done in rotation. In this way, they could get an experience of all the jobs without getting bored. The children would work in pairs, and Sunday would be a holiday for other jobs, and they would unanimously do gardening and concoct a hearty meal. The meeting ended, and they all went about doing the jobs allotted to them for the week. Ria took hold of the broom and started sweeping the floor, while Raj followed her with the mop. No sooner had she swept the floor than he mopped it up. When father had finished his meeting, he posed as Akshay Kumar and attacked all the toilets in the home. Ma cleared the breakfast table and washed the dishes and started preparations for a simple lunch, calling out to Siri, her virtual assistant, to check for any correspondence from her office. When they had finished their jobs, they had a bath and put their clothes into the washing machine. Then they stood looking at it. Even Baba did not have a clue as to where to add the powder and how to start the machine. So they had to wait till Ma had prepared lunch, after which she gave them a live demo. It seemed child's play, and they wondered why they had not once tried to operate the machine before the lockdown. "Are you children hungry? Or do you want to study a little before lunch?" asked Ma. "I'm as hungry as an Asian black bear," cried Raj. "Me too, but I'm a koala bear," shouted Ria, clinging to Baba, who lifted her and placed her on his shoulders. And so the days scrambled by as the family blended menial chores with intellectual jobs, and sleep knocked at their door earlier than usual. End of chapter 3.